Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just setting up for the O.O.C, guys. Make sure you check it out. We're starting up pretty soon. I do appreciate all the support. So if you haven't sub to the channel, come check us out over there. I know I froze over here, but it's because I'm setting up over there. But make sure you guys check it out. I do appreciate all the support. This was a fire-ass show. Great topics today, Chris, man. Very good.
To describe. Some of it will be hard to hear. I will also warn you that I'm going to play some tape in a couple of minutes that many people will find hard to watch. I certainly did. But when this story broke today, even though there are stories of this type that seem like they break all the time, this one in particular just seemed to stop the news in its tracks. Certainly for everybody who works on this show, it stopped us all in our tracks. Just kind of, you can't really move on once you've seen something like this. What this is about is something that happened in Louisiana just over 2 years ago. And in West Monroe, Louisiana, there's a hospital there called Glenwood Regional Medical Center. And that night, May 10th in 2019, the emergency room at that hospital received an ambulance. And the ambulance held a 49-year-old man who was handcuffed to a gurney. He was already deceased when the ambulance pulled into Glenwood Regional Medical Center, and they wheeled him into the ER. The ambulance was accompanied by Louisiana State Police. And the police that night told the emergency room doctor who was attending this ambulance that the man who died in the ambulance had died on impact when he crashed his car into a tree. That was the explanation for why this man was dead when he arrived at the ER. And the doctor examined the body, examined the man who'd been brought in the ambulance, noted in his doctor's notes that the man was covered in blood and covered in bruises. But he also noted that the man had 2 taser prongs hanging out of his back. Wait a minute. This is supposedly a car crash casualty. What? They're saying he crashed into a tree, died on impact. What, did the tree tase him after he hit it? The ER doctor noted all this in his notes and actually wrote in his notes that night, he wrote, quote, "does not add up." Because, right, it did not add up. And yet that really was the official explanation that Louisiana State Police tried to go with for how a 49-year-old barber from in West Monroe, Louisiana, a man named Ronald Greene, that's the story they tried to tell about how he died that night. Louisiana State Police told Mr. Greene's family that he died when he crashed his car during a chase. They said, troopers said they tried to pull him over for some sort of unspecified traffic violation shortly after midnight, about 30 miles south of the Arkansas state line outside Monroe. They said he died on impact when he crashed into a tree. It took the ER doctor pointing out the freaking taser prongs still hanging out of his back. It took Mr. Greene's family filing a wrongful death suit for police to admit that, yes, okay, something else might have happened. No, they can't come up with an explanation for how the tree fired those taser prongs into him. Police released a one-page new report with a new explanation that said, quote, Greene was taken into custody after resisting arrest and a struggle with troopers. And then inexplicably, he became, quote, unresponsive. He became unresponsive and died on his way to the hospital. This cautioning that it can be difficult to piece together what's happening at all times. But in some of it, it's clear. Like in this clip where police first approach Ronald Greene's car, it certainly appears that he is not resisting and in fact is pleading with the troopers.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands, mother. Come here, mother. Get out. Okay. Come here, mother. Oh, Lord Jesus. Oh, get him. Let me see your hands. Get him.
says at the end there, officer, I'm scared. I'm your brother. I'm scared. We also have another portion of the body cam video after the troopers get Mr. Greene out of the car. And you'll see Mr. Greene on the ground here, appearing pretty motionless, while an officer tases him again. The officer then handcuffs him. Mr. Greene is clearly bloodied at this point. The officers, part of the reason we can confirm that is that the officers are commenting about the amount of his blood that they've got on them and the fact that they are wiping it off themselves.
Officer, get on the ground! Get on the ground! Taser. Make sure you get rolling. Oh, get up here! Get that on! Oh, you all right? All over. This guy ain't got AIDS.
The AP tonight has posted one other portion of the video. This portion doesn't have sound. We believe what happened here is the trooper turned off the microphone on his body cam, but you can see here Ronald Greene handcuffed on the ground. The AP reports that later, after a several-minute stretch in which Ronald Greene is not seen on camera, he appears again limp, unresponsive, bleeding from his head, bleeding from his face. He's then loaded onto an ambulance gurney. His arm is cuffed to the bed rail. But here what you will see is an officer putting leg shackles on him. And then I'm not going to show you this part, but what you can see in part of this video is the officer dragging Mr. Greene by those leg shackles across the ground face down. Again, his handcuffs are on him behind his back. His legs are shackled. He is face down and limp, and they are dragging him by the leg shackles face down across the ground. Now, the Louisiana State Police tonight would not comment on the content of these videos, except to say that
What's up, people? How are you doing? Welcome back to the show. This is another episode of the O.O.C. Had to play that little thing at the beginning so you guys get a little context of what Roberto's topic is. It's going to be the first topic for the night, so I wanted people to know what was going on with that. Plus YouTube's probably going to fucking try some shit, so I'm going to have to cut that shit out when it's done. Right? But that's what I'm saying. So we have a special guest in the house. We have HalogenHelix, AKA Paul, in the house. Streamed with him on MSK. Really good guy, man.
Oh, cool,
Hope you guys sub to his channel as well. You know, get him up there. With that being said, we're going to go through the panel so you guys can talk about your channels. We're going to start up with Paul because he's the new one on the panel today. What's up, Paul? Tell the people about your channel, sir.
Yeah, we just talk pop culture and I do a podcast Thursdays for Americans and Fridays for Australians. As you can tell, I'm Australian by the accent. So we do pop culture. We talk about things of the week and topics of the week generally are picked by myself and some of my other guest stars. I have Mike from Row Comics often is on there with me, who owns a comic book store. So it's really good to get his in-depth sort of knowledge about it. Usually I have Tyler, who is the life of the party, who is he does crazy things. He's a budding film director and film and a script writer. So he's got a lot of industry friends as well. Some people close to even Taika Waititi. So like he's got some nice little inroads there. And often I have Imperial Jess on as well. It's nice to have like a female's perspective on things as well. So, but yeah, I just do pop culture generally. And if I do sometimes do gaming streams, or I do like a stream of the week where I want to rage on something. So I'm known for my rants. That's what I'm known for. So.
That is correct. Good guy. Make sure you guys sub to the channel. I'll put his link in the chat just now. Josh, tell the people about your channel, sir.
Yeah, what's going on? Movie Aficionados on Facebook and YouTube. That's it here on the O.O.C. too. Working on new videos every day, or trying to. That's all.
Excellent.
That's the blood version or what?
Next up, my homeboy Gaishka. Tell the people about your channel, sir.
Yeah, Gaishka from the Basco Scenario. You can catch me on all Chaos Central shows starting from Monday at 9 to Tuesday at 9, Wednesday at 9, then 10 p.m. here on the O.O.C. Then you can catch me at 12:30 on my channel this week for the Game Changer. So hopefully you tune on, and please sub to everybody on this panel and people in the chat. Sub to each other, man.
That is correct. You know, we all try to build our community and help out one another. I put Paul's link in the chat for his channel, so anybody that hasn't subbed to him, please sub to him. Roberto, tell the people about your channel, sir.
You can check out my one show I hosted last week. It was nice. I saw I got some views. I went up in subscribers. You know, putting a smile on my face, making me feel good about my thing. That much closer.
That is correct.
That much closer.
That's
I'm
right.
staying true to my word. 101. First guest is Onzo.
Get him to 100 subs, guys. Share his shit, you know, put it out on Twitter, get it out there. Sub to his channel if you haven't already. His link is in the description box, of course, so you can sub over there. Now, you guys know how we do. We get shit off our chest. Roberto said he had a topic. I said I think we'll lead up with that. So, Roberto, talk to the people, sir.
So it's a little funny that I started with Mr. Greene because I wanted to do, because I was shocked. It was a 1-year anniversary since the last big event. Sorry, I'm on some chronic again, man. So some names are just
Don't
shit. I'm like, oh fuck, I can't believe I forgot this guy's name, man.
George Floyd.
Thank you, because my other blazing partner over there has just got my back, right? He knew it was George Floyd, even though there's a lineup of these people that we don't know about. Because, like I said, Mr. Greene, for instance, you know, I saw this and I was like, oh, another one. But wait, that shit happened in 2019. That shit didn't happen yesterday. So for 2 years, this thing was under the carpet. 2 years. And only because the mother wanted to press charges, they changed that shit up, man. Now, I was going to try not to use any profanity this week. But that ain't fucking happening.
You got brain fire, bro. Brain fire.
Yo, that is some fucked up shit. That is some fucked up shit. Now, again, people are going to say we don't know what he did prior to him getting tased and beaten to shit. Beaten to death, right? We don't know what he did. But can we, have an honest topic to say, what could lead a man to get beat to death by the police? What could justify a police officer beating a man to death that's begging and pleading for his life? What kind of crime could someone commit to say, hey, man, that shit was justified?
And I'm not trying to justify it, but I do want to know, what was the context?
I don't know. Supposedly they said he fled because he crashed into a tree and that supposedly killed him on their first statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
he crashed into the tree. I'm sorry, go ahead, Gershker. You know.
No. That's what they said, right? When he brought him in on the gurney from the ambulance to the hospital, they asked what was the cause of death, and they said, that the car hit a tree, and that he was dead when they
died on impact. Died on impact.
Which then, the coroner said that was bullshit. The guy had taser marks, club marks.
He still had the prongs sticking out of his back.
Yeah. So
let's see. Let's see what comes of this shit.
You see, this is the thing, right? They lied for 2 years, bro. Imagine the family. You know what I mean? They're trying to figure out what the hell happened. Oh, he hit a tree, and then you get a coroner's report, and you find out that he had, beat. He was beat. He had tasers in his back, and it's just like, what the fuck, bro? Like, out of all the things that have happened, and they lied, and this is the thing. This is why I say things like, people say George Floyd, this and that, but if it's not on camera, we will never know about this shit, man. If it's not on camera, we'll never know about this shit. Paul, go ahead. Yes, I'm saying.
I was going to say, like, when I was watching the video, firstly, Rachel Maddow, I wish it was a different person. But anyway, that's that aside. I think, like, it doesn't matter, like, what he did leading up to that, except for if he took shots at them, I'd understand their reactions the way that they are. But I was watching that footage and I was like, it doesn't matter whatever he did leading up to that. He still has rights. Like, you don't get to leg cuff someone and drag them across face first over the ground. You don't get to tase somebody. And sure, there could be parts that we're not seeing where he resisted arrest and he deserved to get tased. But then they're like, then they take it to the next degree where they're like, I hope this guy doesn't have AIDS. And like, you could tell they had intention, like, to hurt him. Like, there was an intention in them to do that, not to. So the idea of the police is you secure the suspect, you lock down the suspect so they can't hurt you or anybody else. You put them in the back of the car. That's what police should do. That's their job, right? But what they did was they secured. He crashed in the tree. They arrive up on him. They get out of the goddamn car, whatever. Then they tase him once. If I saw correctly, he tased him once already inside the car. Then he's like, "Oh God, please, I'm your brother. Please don't do this." They dragged him out. If he was sort of still arresting, I can agree with like another tase because he's like, get his arm behind it. If he's not doing that, if he's not complying, that is resisting, right? But then you have excessive force on top of that. As soon as he has those cuffs on him and he's on the ground, there's no need to put leg cuffs on him. He wasn't kicking them. He wasn't kicking at them. And then they dragged him. So like this, for me, this is like, it doesn't matter what he did up until that point, how he crashed his car, whatever it was, right? That as soon as they rolled up on him, as soon as he was secured, that's it. That's the end of the force necessary. You just used him, as far as I know, from the law point of view in America, as an Australian, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but they have the right to stop, like to basically use force up until the point where he is subdued, where the suspect is subdued, and that's it. He was on the ground. He wasn't making any threatening moves. They stick leg cuffs on him, and then he drags him. Like, that is excessive force. And then the big thing is, and Roberta, you're right, they lied about it. They lied about it for 2 years and said that he died because of injuries to, like, who knows what state he was in when he hit that tree, after he hit that tree. Then they tased him twice. Like, that's ridiculous.
He even apologized. I don't know what he was apologizing for. Maybe not getting out of the car fast enough, not responding to their commands fast enough. But what kind of resistance are you getting from someone who's apologizing?
First of all, when they opened the door, his hands are out. He's like this. Mm-hmm. His hands are showing.
He doesn't have any. Yeah, he doesn't have any weapons. He's showing he doesn't have any weapons.
He's showing his hands. And they tased him.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I've seen a lot of police chases, and more times than not, when they catch that guy at the end, he's catching a beating. But he lives to see another day.
Yeah. And you know what? Depending on what he did, I know it's excessive, white or black, whatever. They shouldn't be getting beat by that. But you're frustrated. Maybe a cop having a bad day. You give a 2-lick one here and there, right?
Shot, a little kick, a little, you son of a bitch. You almost hit that kid.
Yeah, you made me fucking chase your ass.
See, and that's what I want to say. It's something I heard. And shout out to Danny and all of our cops and all the good cops out Danny. There in the chat. We love you guys for the work that you guys do. But somebody said these are supposed to be law enforcement officers, not feelings enforcement officers, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Feelings enforcement clowns. You're not, and I'm going to live by a new motto, man. I know I'm only 36 years of age or whatever, and I should have learned this before, but I need to live by the consequences I want to face, not how I'm feeling at the time, because how you feel one day could affect how you felt tomorrow. I mean, imagine if those officers woke up like, oh my God, like, what did we just do? Or, I mean, I doubt it based on what I've seen. But I mean, you know, whether you were angry at the last 5 people that you pulled over and maybe one of them mouthed off to you, called you, you know, a pig or something horrible, it doesn't mean that the next guy or this guy is going to do that too. You know what I mean? You can't base what you're going to do off of past actions and et cetera, et cetera.
I agree with you 100%, you know, and like even like LGG said it yesterday, we had a little topic like this, you know, if you want to be a cop, and you're scared to come home or you're scared for this and that, then you shouldn't be in the profession. You know what I mean? Because that's what you're there to do, right? You're there to protect and serve. And if you're scared all the time, oh no, this person has a gun or this person that, then that's the wrong profession for you. You need to get out of that right now, because when you're scared, you're going to make a rash decision, a bad choice, and you're going to fuck something up. And that's going to happen. And you know what I mean? You may not even mean to do it, but it's going to happen, because anger and rage can be a motherfucker at sometimes. You know what I mean? When you are mad and you just can't see nothing but red, you say shit, you do shit that you are not supposed to be doing.
So you're like the kettle on the oven. Just warming up till you eventually whistle, man. You can't take it no more. Can't take it no more.
Yeah, no, it takes the it takes to be able to compartmentalize. Like, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that, and that's what these people like. I know that it's very different, the police force here in Australia compared to America. Like, they have to go through 2 years of a diploma of justice and then the police academy to learn how to shoot, subdue, take notes, recall, all these things, right? All the things that police officers do, but they have to do a diploma of justice beforehand. Like, they have to know the law, right? And they don't just jump into a SWAT vehicle. It's very different. And so when you see here, that's why we don't have a lot of these police brutality claims here, because they're very strict here. And it's like, I just see it in America, and I'm like, it feels like there's not enough, 1, training, 2, weeding out these people that can't make it.
100%.
Like, there's not enough cutting the people out that don't have the ability to do that and leave their shit at home and walk into work and be like, hey, this is a new day. Every single person that I pull over is a new person. And treat them with respect, and they treat me with respect, and we're good, right? A lot of people don't have that ability, and so they have to weed these people out. It's not just the supposed racist cops, right? But they need to weed out the people that don't have the mental fortitude to be a police officer.
Absolutely.
It's just like the military. You get scrubbed out of the military through psych. You can be scrubbed out of the military, any military that is worth its salt, with psych. You can be just gone. You can be discharged because you can't make it. They need to have the same rules in place for police. If you're holding a weapon that you can kill someone with, you need to and you can be the weapon. As we saw there, they're dragging people across with chains, chains on his legs. If you have that ability, you need to pass psych tests, rigid psych tests, to be able to do that stuff. You can't have sociopaths and people that can have one bad day and snap on the force. It makes no sense. It's basically you're giving sociopaths handguns. It's crazy.
And I'm glad you said that, because there's a lot of talk about defund the police, and I'm the exact opposite, dude. I think police need more funding and more training and better equipment. Maybe clearly also better, brighter tasers with different colors that they can actually recognize. I don't want to get into that.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, maybe make them bigger or something. I don't know. So,
but when they're saying defund the police, don't they mean more so that they shouldn't be involved in certain situations, mental health situations, drug related, I don't know.
That's not how I understand it. And if you're saying, we live in a world where we need to be specific with our language, and they could be saying, instead of a lot of people defund the police. What I'm actually saying is we need to reform the police. I'm like, well, why don't you just say that? We need a reformation in the police.
Use a proper term to it,
because it's very vague and it's empty platitudes.
Use your language and say, no, we don't need to defund them. What we need to do is have a reformation within the police service to weed out racist cops. A, B, people that can't cut the teeth at the psych test, like people that can't take it every day, being called pig by every single person. Like, say, for instance, you get called pig all day by every single person that you roll up onto. You should be able to go at the end of the day, go, oh yeah, that's just work, and be able to leave it at work and walk home. Like, walk off the job and be good. If you can't do that, there's a problem, and you need to not be in the police service. You need to pick another job, pick another career. Like, it doesn't work. And you have this is the other thing too. It's a problem. You have ex-military going into the police service, and they haven't dealt with their mental shit either. And I know this for a fact because I have friends who are in the military, right, who have PTSD, and they like will swerve when they see a box on the side of the road because I think it's an IED. Like, they have issues here that they haven't dealt with because either they're not provided, but they are provided in Australia. I don't know about America, but they're provided to a very big standard here in Australia now. But they don't go through these issues, and and because the psych tests aren't there, they don't have to pass them. Right? They have to pass these tests to make sure that they're actually okay to wield a weapon in the general public, right? Because military service and police service are very different things, very different rules. In an enemy combatant situation, that person, you either kill or you're killed. That's it. That person isn't a person, they're the enemy. In a police service, that person's a person you have to serve and protect, even if they are doing something that's against the law.
Well, from what I heard from military that's in my family, I mean, even if you're in the military, you can't just shoot first and ask questions later. You kind of got to, even if it's like a terrorist threat.
They're held higher. They're held higher standards.
There is rules of engagement, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you see somebody with a bomb, you got to assess, like, can I defuse this bomb? Not just like, oh, he's the bad guy, blow him up.
No, just kill him. Yeah.
No, but back in the day, those policemen were held to the same standard, right? Back in the day. All of a sudden, that got abolished.
In like a gunfight situation, you're not going to be worried about. You're going to be worried about who's shooting at you and killing them before they kill you or yours. That's like in a gunfight situation. If you were talking about in your situation where you just have a single dude walking up with a bomb in his arms, you can have time to assess there. But if you're under fire, it's kill or be killed. Right, but if someone's shooting at you in the police, and by the way, I will say the rules of engagement in Australian law, like under Australian military law, is you can't shoot until someone shoots at you. They have to pick their weapon up, aim it at you, and start firing before you can even fire a bullet at them. Like that's the Australian service law, right? You can't even under the threat. So you can be shot, or your mate can be shot before you even open fire on that enemy on the enemy. Right. This is and I know this because my dad did a serving in Timor during that conflict area, and he was in the airfield and he did pickets, and that was the rules. He literally he told me, it's like, it was ridiculous. You could have a person walk up to the fence, aim their weapon at you. You couldn't fire until they fired a shot at you. Like, that was the rules of like that combat situation in general.
That's the rules of war.
What you're saying, I get what you're saying. Where like the military have like rules, but the police service have rules too. And the people and then some military people will find it hard to adapt to those rules, especially if they've been in situations where they've been under fire for like 3 days, had RPGs like launched at their heads. Like one of my friends had an RPG go past his head, like this close to his head. Right, almost killed him. He saw one of his friends, like, horrible things happen to some of his mates. Like, these things affect the human mind, and no one can ignore them forever. Like, they can be buried, but they will come up in situations, especially in stress situations with the police force. And I'm not having a go at the police force here, and I'm not saying military can't go into the police force. What I am saying is that there needs to be tests and screenings to make sure that these people are actually mentally okay to go into the service of public service rather than into the military service, because they have very different rules and different psych needs at a time. Yeah, criteria. Yeah, that's what I'm
Dude, thank God there's an honest and truthful witness at all times, though. Well, hopefully with the police, and that's their cameras, man. And
cameras.
Maybe part of it too, like you were saying about the psych evaluation, maybe like they have been under fire for so long, or maybe something they see or hear something that's not even there. And then maybe that's why there's conflicting stories. I mean, I don't believe so because I'm a cynical asshole or whatever, but I believe maybe that's part of the reason why there's different stories. Oh, no, it's Danny.
But they're all held to a different standard, right? Because like I was going to say, you see Danny, his station really enforces the camera. They enforce it hard. So police officers in his precinct are afraid to touch the camera. But in the case of Mr. Greene, they muffled the camera because, as the woman said, there's some parts you don't even hear because they're covering the mics. Now, shouldn't there be some kind of penalty for that?
Yeah.
What's the point of having it, man?
But see, that's where policemen's unions and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. This is the corruption.
Right?
This is what. There's another thing. Reform the police department. Reform the police union, because I know what happens to dirty cops in America with the police union. So they just move them to another precinct. It's literally like I forget the movie, but it's based on the priests, right? No, not Doubt. It's the one where the paper actually found that they
Spotlight?
basically Spotlight. It's exactly like that. They find a priest who's doing, the bad things, and they just move them to another parish under leave. This is exactly what the police unions do with corrupt police officers and dirty racist cops. It's exactly the same thing, and they need to stomp the police union because they have too much power. Too much power to be able to do that stuff for years now.
That's exactly what's happening here in Montreal, right? They wanted to put the cameras on the police officers here, but the union got involved and
said no. Yep. Danny sent a $5 super chat. Hold on.
Oh, he's sending all kinds of money.
Yeah. Danny said, what the fuck is this? United Countries Against Cops? Boo to this channel. Unsubscribe. Next one, he said, when I come to Canada, I don't want to see Roberto.
Well, I don't actually own all of Canada, Danny. That's such an American comment. You could go anywhere in Canada you want. You could just avoid Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and you'll be safe.
This is the thing. I don't mean to dump on cops here because if something I literally rely on them here because I can own weapons, man. Yeah, exactly. I'm literally saying here that I want good police officers because we need good police officers. We need them. We just need better. We just need a better police department to do this, and it should be mandatory to have mics and cameras, and that protects the police as much as it protects the people that they're trying to protect and serve, and in this case, kill and serve. It protects everyone involved from corruption, either side, and so from corrupt people saying, "Oh, they abused me." Use excessive force, and it protects the police. It protects those people on the other side of it if the police do use excessive force.
Everybody's got to be held accountable. Everybody.
Exactly. The police should want the good police officers. You'll see it straight away. The good police officers will want this stuff, right? They'll want the body cams and they'll want the mics because they're following the rules. They're obeying the law and upholding the law, which is what their job is. And the bad police officers, the racist police officers, the abusive police officers who are getting away with it for years won't want this shit, and they'll be muffling and all the rest of it because they don't want their corruption on the record. This is just the facts of it.
And the
Paul's on fire, man. It makes me want to go.
I told you. I told you. Paul's on point, bro.
I'm glad we have three different perspectives. One from my buddies up north, one from the land up of the free, and then one from down under. Yeah,
it's the Commonwealth
where I can own a revolver that I have to keep in a separate safe to the ammo and with a gun trigger on it. So if anybody actually comes into my house, I literally have to go to my two safes, open them separately, then take the trigger mechanism off, then load my gun. So you Americans should enjoy your Second Amendment rights because by the time I do that, I could already be stabbed a dozen times by some dude jumping through the window. So I rely on the cops to come. My point in saying that is I rely on the police to come to my house. I rely on good police officers. So I want good police officers in my police force. I want good police officers around the world. I want to stop this. I don't want to see, because it comes on my news too. I watched what happened to George Floyd. It sickened me. I was like, this is literally, they lynched this dude in the street. I was sickened by it. And then on the excuses afterwards, I was like, this is, they literally pull him out. and kneeled on the dude until he died. Like, how can you see this any other way? Like, it doesn't, and it outraged me as a person that's not even in America, because it should outrage anybody with a moral center. Like, it should be like, it's morally wrong that this happened. It doesn't matter what he did beforehand. Doesn't matter that he pointed a gun at a pregnant lady's belly. Doesn't matter any of those crap that they put his excuses up with his past. In the moment, he literally used a counterfeit note, and they checked him out of this world because he used a counterfeit note. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm going to swear. But, like, they did the same thing. They did the same thing. They did the same thing with that dude with the cigarettes. Yes. They literally killed that dude for just selling cigarettes on the corner. Like, it's just Eric like Garner choked him out. Yeah, choked him out. It's like, forgive me, I don't remember all the names because, like Roberto said, there are so many. There are like so many, and that stuff makes it here to the news here. It comes here, right? And of course, the news stokes the outrage machine, and then people here trying to make it about their particular people groups. I won't get into that right now because they're very separate to us. But your African Americans are very separate to the issues here in Australia. We do have a national shame, but it's very different. This whole thing happens, and the outrage happens, and we look at it and we see it, and we're like, why is the police force this way? And this is what I'm talking about. I'm just saying exactly like how we don't have this sort of stuff here. Like, it's very rare that you'll see Australian police officers if ever. I've never seen an Australian officer, like a police officer, on the news, like lynching, like choking out an Aboriginal in the street. Never. Because if it happened here, you better believe that dude is going to jail. Like, do not pass go, because the people doesn't, like, we got racists exist everywhere. We got racists here, but the majority of the people in Australia would be like, this is disgusting. Like, get this dude, get him out of the uniform, put him straight in the jail.
Well,
like,
they probably wouldn't want to monetize it. Like, all right, let's drag it through. Let's go have,
that's
court trial,
exactly,
TV. How much money? How much ad revenue? Hey, Sonic, McDonald's, you want to get in on this? Come on.
And that's the other thing, right? In the States, it's the media, right? How they twist everything and how they bring.
That's why I was really sus at the start. Yeah, with like when Macho Matto came on, I'm like, oh no, anybody but this woman telling the story, please. Right, and she's like crying. I'm like, you don't care. You care about the publicity. You care about the fake outrage. You don't care this person was killed. Like, you don't have a moral bone in your body. You literally like perpetrated one of the greatest lies on the American people and never apologized to it for the last 4 years. So you need to just shut up, Rachel Maddow. But like anybody else would have been like, okay, fine. But like just watching the footage was enough for me to make the decision that like this guy, they killed this dude. Like, and they lied about it. And then it's come out now. And what's happening to these people? Are they going to go to trial?
We'll see.
Just going to go, we'll move them to another area.
That's the question now. And Danny said, Comic Check, another $5 super chat. You think next week we could show on the show we could focus on good cops or maybe segments of stories where they do good things? And you know what, Danny? Because the show we started going off and people were talking. I just wanted to say, listen, man, no word of a lie. I wish more cops were like you, bro. You are a stand-up dude. Man. And I know for a fact that we need cops like you. You know, I have nothing but respect for you and the profession that you do. You've told me stories. You've even told me that the body cams have helped you in certain situations, right? So, man, just keep your head up. Keep doing what you're doing, man, because, like I said, we need more cops like you.
100%. Less feelings, no feelings to do. I will say this, though, and I love all my 50 states, man. You know, got to wave the red, white, and blue. What state did this happen in? That's...
Did they say Louis? I thought they said Louisiana.
Yeah. See, New York and California and other states up here. See, we have that a little bit of a divide. I love all my 50 states. I know you got. I don't know if you guys have that where like one province might be different than another. I don't know what goes on in Australia. Sorry.
You're talking about here. We have like Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, New Zealand. They wish they were part of our country. No, they're a separate country. Western Australia and Tasmania.
Do you have any devils over there?
Do we have any Tasmanian devils? No,
I'm sure you hear that shit all the time, eh, Paul?
They're endangered species. They're endangered species, actually. They are, yeah. But no, we don't have any dumping on states, although a lot of people like to dump on Melbourne. because they're full of themselves. But yeah, they think they're the cultural capital. Like they think if I would say anything, they're like California. They think they're like the culture center of America, and they're full of themselves. Like, sorry, Jess, but like yeah, a lot of Calis. I would say it's like California. A lot of Californians, especially the inner cities.
My three.
Well, I'll
brothers
tell
are
you
not.
this.
That's where you guys are too, right? You guys are like the California of or New York of Canada.
We're
too,
the New
right?
York
No,
of
that's
Canada, I
Toronto.
would say.
That's Toronto.
No.
man. Toronto.
That's Toronto.
Toronto's, I think Toronto's the LA of Canada. We're the New
Okay.
York of Canada
the
because,
California.
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're like New York type.
My
of
whole
you know?
point of saying any of that was that, like, you know, different states handle things very differently, and what might fly in one might not fly in another. And we got 50
100.
So when you cross those borders, just because you know you're repping the red, white, and blue doesn't mean that it's the same style and type and mindset. So
You're one of them good Americans, Joshua. You're good. You know, what I mean, you're on point, brother. Go ahead, Gaishka.
No, what I was going to say is it would be cool. Well, not cool, but it would be interesting to see where all these shootings take place in the country by cops. And, you know, because I guess where there's more ethnic diversity, it would be less because the police force would be more mixed, right? Less likely to happen.
How big are the spiders in Australia?
Oh, is that?
We have varying spiders, but the biggest we have, I think, is we have huntsmans. Huntsmans can get up to like their leg span can be about like yay big.
Oh shit!
But
You
they
will not see my black ass in Australia. I'm telling you
they're
right
not poisonous. They just bite you. Like they
now. I don't care.
But the poisonous spiders are like the funnel webs, and they're like yay big. They look like a tarantula, but they're full black, jet black. They're smaller than a tarantula. And the last one I saw was a Sydney. They live in New South Wales, so thank God I don't have to deal with them. But like we saw a Sydney funnel web. There was like a picture in the mail. And they found a new like species, the male one, bigger than the female for once. And they found it in like a farming field, and it had snapped the back of a mouse with its fangs. So that tells you sort of what the funnel
You
webs
guys
are
got
about.
crazy insects. You guys got too much shit up there, like the end of the world.
Do you realize you're saying the spider is like this big and you're holding it up to your head and you're like, is this big? I have never seen a
good
spider
thing
that big in real life.
it can't slip under the doors and get into your bedroom.
Bruh.
I mean, maybe
Funnel webs are most of our spiders are ground spiders, or like, so we have like the most common spider is the redback spider, and just as I said, is a red stripe on its back. And you'll find them in like garages and stuff, and they will, if they bite me, I'll just get really sick and have to go get some anti-venom, but they can kill small children and small animals like dogs and stuff if they do manage to bite them. And they're like ground spiders. They can live in the sides of the roofs and stuff if you let them. The huntsmen are the only ones that really come in. Yeah, the huntsmen are the only ones that really come inside. So like sometimes I'll be like one time I was like on the thing and I was doing a video or whatever, and in the back here I saw like this thing moving up the wall, and I looked around and it was like a huntsman around that sort of like size, and they do jump too. That's the other thing I will say about huntsmen. I'm not BSing. They do jump, and I hate spiders of any kind, so I have to kill it. I have to find it and kill it before I go to bed because I'm too afraid of it.
You won't go to sleep. I wouldn't sleep without something not big in my house.
There has to be somebody on speed dial that I could call to kill this thing, man.
Fuck that.
Because I see a spider that size. What are you using to kill it?
22 caliber.
I get a shoe, man. I just get a shoe and I stomp that shit out of that thing. I stomp it, man. I stomp it hard. That or you get a flamethrower and just burn the house down and move along. Move
22 caliber. That's what I would use.
Hey, but man.
But a spider that big, the shit that must come out of it when you're stomping it, like
there's a lot of guts.
You gotta call a cleaning crew and shit.
I'm really talking like when I talk huntsmen's like this size, right? Their body is like maybe
legs.
yay big.
They're like those daddy long legs.
Leg span, their leg span is where it's at.
Now you're gonna have a mice problem though. That spider was killing all the damn mice for you, man.
Well, I don't mind them staying outside, but the geckos take care of like the cockroaches, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. They'll like run up the walls and stuff. I don't care about them.
You guys got too many crazy insects there. Crazy insects. Yeah. Crazy insects. I ain't never going to Australia.
I'll check it out, man.
It's pretty good. You don't get much in the inner cities and stuff because it's all like industrialized. And at the beaches, you're okay. But in the water, you got blue bottles, you've got box jellyfish season.
What is a blue bottle?
Blue bottle is like it looks like a jellyfish, but it's long. It's blue, obviously, and like it'll give you like if it hits you, it really stings when it gets you.
You see, we
right?
be thinking it's all cute. It's blue. We're Canadian.
Box jellyfish are exactly what you think. They're boxes. They look like they're jellyfishes that are boxes. They're very small, but they can kill you. And multiple stings will kill you faster. So they have like seasons here where they'll like net off the entire beach area and literally have lifeguards there just saying don't go in the water because box jellyfish will just flow through.
I won't even be at the beach, Paul.
By the millions.
I won't even be there for him to tell me don't go in the water.
And of course, in Western Australia, we have the great white shark. So there's a lot of and we got the crocs with this. We got 7 meter long crocodiles.
And you know what's funny, guys? They ask us why we live in Quebec.
I'll take my winters and my minus
you got that
degrees.
right. I'll speak French in the cold. I'll eat a hot dog. You tell me whatever. I'll take that over Australia. I'll fly over Australia and look at it and say it's pretty.
I'll take my 22. Shoot those fucking spiders.
You better bring a lot of bullets, bro.
A long ass flight, dude. That's the only reason why.
Yeah, it's a long trip too, ain't it?
Actually, that was the country my dad wanted.
22 hours, and then you have to stop over and then fly another flight down because I've looked at going to the States a couple of times.
22 hours?
Wow,
yeah,
22,
yeah, because I got to fly back to the past. I got to fly to the past.
Yeah.
As I come across, I'm flying backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As the world's going this way, I'm flying this way.
Right.
Yeah. So I fly to yesterday. I leave here and then I fly to yesterday.
It's crazy how that happens, though. Like I only went to Europe from here, but it's like still like you just notice, and it screwed me up for a whole week, like trying to get back into the rhythm.
I think I actually missed Danny's super chat. Danny's
really hating on us, huh?
Danny said, "Don't know why my yes man ain't speaking up."
Take a word in, Danny.
Oh, yours, yes man. I was gonna say, what was that, Josh?
No.
Nice to know.
I'll always be disagreeing with him, man.
No, my parents, before they emigrated to Canada, actually, my dad wanted to go to Australia. And it was my mom that convinced them not to because she had family here in Montreal. So I was like,
my dad wanted to move to Texas. Imagine
that.
Oh, shit.
So go ahead. Did you see in Texas now you don't even need a permit for a gun? Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to pass?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, look at all the people that are moving to Texas now.
You got that right.
In all fairness,
I don't know if that's for the guns. I think it's to escape the taxes in certain states.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the guns.
The guns.
Just
hey, look,
we like the food
say, if I was
and the
going to
weed.
immigrate to the United States, I'd probably immigrate to Texas because I'd build a bunker underground for the end of the world, and I have a large amount of guns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It won't stand real.
And this is the thing why there's so many mass shootings in America and stuff like that, because you can just go, hey man, they're gonna be selling guns at fucking Walmart, bro. Trust me. You can walk into Walmart and say, yeah, give me that 22 right there.
You used to be able to go and buy your gun at Gander Mountain.
Yeah, you used to be able to buy them in those little sporting goods stores.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're gonna be able to do it again in Houston.
I remember as a kid, I used to freak out. We used to go to Plattsburgh, man, see all them rifles and some makeshift shotguns on the wall, and I'm like, this is like Canadian Tire, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know, this is crazy. Crazy. We're selling BB guns over here. You guys are selling shit to take people down.
Yeah, man. If
we don't even have BB guns here.
If somebody's trying to take you down or take me down, man, I'm all about it. So have what needs to be had.
What happened to the good old-fashioned fist fight, man?
And I will say, well, that's what Craig's dad said on Friday.
West Side Story.
Yeah. But I mean, hunting is a sport. People, they go out, they hunt.
Yeah, game for animals, not humans.
I'm just saying, you just so happen to have the weapon because you went out. You're a hunter. You go for deer season. Don't come to that person's house, and you shouldn't be going there anyway to be doing some stupid shit. So,
but it just kills me.
Don't be breaking.
Go ahead.
I still remember the people's faces when I was driving with my deer carcass on top of my van coming back from New York State after I killed him. And I look at the woman, I'm like, yeah, me, it's gonna be good.
NASA. Nah, something. No, I don't want no deer meat, bro.
It's good, man.
It's good.
Oh,
Man.
I'm picky. I'm picky, bro.
It's gamey. It's really
unless you know how to
own.
cook it.
Teach your own. You enjoy it. I'm happy. I
can tell
said,
you one
teach
thing.
your.
It was more humane the way I brought it down than what you get those cows in those freaking slaughterhouses. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. 100%. But I like me some beef, so I'm going to take that over deer anytime.
It's not like the old lady from the Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef?
So let me ask you, Paul, did you have a topic that you want to talk about? Did you bring anything?
I got something I want to talk about.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let's go.
I'm getting tired of it too. Like I've got to get it out. I do have to get it out. I am tired of white liberals taking on the hurt for other races particularly on the internet. Or making up terms that are actually racist that people don't actually want to do, like Latinx. No Latino wants to use that language for themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And every time a company posts it, you see a bunch of Latino people and Latin Americans down in the comments going, please don't use this term. Thousands. And they continue to use it because white liberals are naming people, other races, these words without their consent. And it's ridiculous. It's like literal racism that they're doing, and they don't realize it. What they're doing, they're appropriating them and using them for victim, virtue signal to be we care about the Latinx community. It's like, no, you don't. You care about money, and you're using this word that you've made up for Latinos that have already got Latino.
What word is this?
Their name. What word is? Have you not heard of Latinx?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I just heard about that maybe about a month ago or so.
Oh, yeah, man, it's a thing. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Geisker, give me the 411.
Being the Hispanic and seeing that, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Latinx?
That's every single person in your community is doing this. No one wants this. It's so bad.
At first, I thought it was I thought of somebody new that's coming up with a reggaeton song, but
yeah, me too. I was gonna say this Bad Bunny's competition. What's going on?
Yeah, right.
Latinx. So I'm like, this is a description. This is what does it represent? A generalization. So Generation X, Latinx.
No,
that?
It's so that they can basically have a gender neutral name for Latinos, because Latino is masculine and Latina is feminine, so they want Latinx. And I'm like, this is what I say.
So stupid.
If you're Latin American and you're trans, you can have Latinx. Cool, right? Mm-hmm. But Latinos and Latinas obviously do not like this word being used for the broad scope. So companies need to stop. It's literal virtue signaling. It's like going, hey, you know what would be a really good idea? We need to make Clark Kent black.
Well,
it's the same thing. You are virtue signaling. It's tokenism. Just make good characters. And people I've said this so many times, I'm going to say it right now to cover this off. My favorite character in Civil War is Black Panther. I don't have to be black to identify with him as a character. Right. It's stupid. It's tokenism, right? There are plenty of African Americans that I've spoken to who love Superman, who love the arc and origin of Superman, who don't need him to be black to identify with him being a symbol of hope. This is stupid, right? We have other characters like Val Zod. We have other characters like Static Shock. I watched Static Shock when I was a teenager, and I loved that show. Right? I didn't have to be black with dreadlocks to love that character. I loved his powers, I loved his attitude, and I loved his catchphrase. I'll bring a shock to your system. I loved it, right? Mm-hmm. This is a thing that white liberals particularly, right, are pushing on other races, and I don't think they realize it's so racist. They are literally they're doing what they did in the 80s, where every single black character in a movie was this funny dude, was the funny jokey guy, right, who in a horror movie he'd get killed off in the first 5 minutes. They're tokenizing black people, and they're doing it now again, but they're doing it through the gauge of virtue signaling. It's we need to make Clark Kent black. Why? Oh, because there's not enough black representation in cinema. Well, take a black character and put him on the silver screen. Don't take an original, you know what's so funny about this too? Superman is a Jewish character. He was written by two. He was created by two Jewish men who created him based on the fable of the Messiah from the Torah. Right? He's actually supposed to be a Christ figure. That's why there's all this Christ symbolism with Superman, the last son of Krypton, sent to Earth to save humanity. There's all of this crossover between that and Judaism. Right? But they want to appropriate that culture now to make him black because they're more worried about virtue signaling to black people. This is ridiculous.
Just to add on to what you're saying is not only that you're dead right on the fact that it's white people that are doing this, and it's making the black people seem that that's what they're asking for.
I was just going to say, did a bunch of black people gather somewhere and say, we want this?
That's the
thing. No, literally under the post, there were African Americans going, don't tokenize black people. We don't want to appropriate a white character and make him black. No one, this is serious. Both sides of this, a small segment, the quote unquote woke African Americans like will push for this, right? The ultra, whatever you want to call them, liberal or whatever, like the ultra woke people are going to push for this, right? But generally center people that have the actual brains and can think this out and realize what they're doing, no one wants this. White people don't want this. Black people don't want this. Like, it's really easy. Like, you can see it under the post for it. They're like, we don't want your white characters tokenized. Literally make Val Zod, make a whole story out of him. You can do it. He's a black Superman in the comics you can actually pull from. But no, there's the other thing. It comes down to this too. It's lazy. They want the story and they just want to race swap. It's laziness. They can't be bothered creating a new. This should actually offend African Americans. They can't be bothered creating a character, right? A black character. Firstly, that isn't based in slavery, and two, that is actually like in today's realm that is successful and does things. Like, why does it have to be like? And I was talking about this, I think, on another podcast, I think on MSKs or something. Like, why does every black movie that comes out have to be about slavery? Why do they it's like almost becoming a token thing now as well. It's like, I watched 12 Years a Slave. I walked out of that movie and I was like upset. I was very upset by that movie, right? But why does every single black culture movie have to be about that, or like about the struggle? Like, it's like, why can't we have a utopian black future or whatever you want to call it? Like, why can't we have a black a uplifting film about black culture,
something different, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go with a little bit, and I say I agree with you when it comes to black people movies. I've said it many times. I don't really like them. We have Tyler Perry with Medea and all that shit.
We talked about that too.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me. Right. You know what I mean? And I said I want to see us branch out. So when Get Out came out, I was like, okay, this is different. A black horror movie, something out of the box. We're not seeing this church shit. We're not seeing hookers and hoes and shit like that. I was definitely interested in that. Right. 100%. The black Superman thing, I'm one of the people that I don't give a shit, right? I really don't care if they make him black or not, just as long as you stay true to the character. Now, for me, it's about the story. So now if we get the black Superman and he's in the hood, you know what I mean? And he's fucking stopping drug dealers and helping fucking cops from beating up on black people, then I'm going to have it. Eating fried chicken? No, I don't mind fried chicken.
Oh my god!
Then he's Meteor Man.
No,
I don't mind.
It's straight out of no. They should just call it Superman, straight out of Krypton. That's what they should call it. It'd be perfect. The perfect title for it.
Right. So if they do stuff like that, I don't care. If you focus on the fact that you're just making a Superman movie, he just happens to be back, I can be okay with that. You know, they changed Kingpin in the Daredevil movie. He was a great Kingpin.
He was great.
Yeah. He was great. But there was no, oh my God, look, we got a black Kingpin.
Yeah, no. He was, the core character stayed the same. He just happened to be black. That's it.
Exactly.
Like,
and that's my problem. And I think that's most of the people's problem with the black Superman is that they don't think they're going to stay true to character. We're going to get all these issues and all these social justice things in it that are going to ruin the movie. And I think that's what the biggest issue about it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, you stay true to the core character. You could have make him Asian. I'd be fine with that. Now, I didn't know I
want to make it really clear. People are saying, like, it's too early to be offended, whatever. I'm not offended by a black Superman. I don't care that much about it because to me, I just see it as what it is, token. And it's like, okay, that's what it is. You want to be token? That's your right, Warner Brothers. It'll fail. It'll just fail. It's okay. Like, I don't care that much. I'm not offended by it. It's happened so often now. I don't have the energy to be offended by it. What does offend me is white people. What not offend me, I should say. What frustrates me is white people speaking on behalf of other races, like especially with this Latinx thing. It's like, don't try to make this a thing. You can see that the community doesn't want it. Like, it's silly.
And
it's
I
dumb.
can see the Latinx thing, sorry for cutting you off, as like African American. You know what I mean? Like, why not just call us black? You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, the African American.
The thing is like, I say African American because it is the
right
quote unquote acceptable term. It's like saying First Nationers or whatever. Like, I can't say American Indian, you know?
So Paul, what would you call us?
I say that because I'm saying that because I'd rather not, like, because like I'm a white person here, obviously, and I don't want to like be offensive.
No, say black, bro. We don't. You see, this is the thing. And that's why you said talking for us. They think we get offended because you say the black guy.
Well, no, it's like people tell me stuff, so I'm like, okay, then that's the way I've got to act. Like, it's like, and that's the thing. Like, it frustrates me, but like, I would say, like, if I was in the States, I wouldn't just go up to, like, I wouldn't say, oh, that person's. It like in my lingo, the way that I've even been raised, I just wouldn't do that. But if you guys say, I'll just say black, then I can say black. It's like like how I say Latino, basically the same deal. That's how it means to me. I'm not offended by the term. It's just like, I'm just trying to make sure I'm right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
And it's so hard it's hard today in this world to be correct in your terminologies, right? And because you can't go around saying American Indian. That's offensive.
Right. Well, we're Native American is what we're.
Native American is one, or like First Nation or whatever. Like, you see what I'm saying? You can't just say it out loud because we're like, that's offensive. So that's why I was like saying that term, basically.
No, and I can completely understand with what you're saying, but like Roberto was like, well, what do you call us? Because we're Canadian, right? So are we African Canadian? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
What are they? The black people that are down by you.
Well, there's no black people down here. There's Aboriginals. Like,
Aboriginals. Okay.
Yeah. So they're like they're equivalent to the First Nation here, right? So they were here before British came, and the Dutch and the French.
So they're the native Italians. Australians?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they wouldn't call themselves Australians. They wouldn't call themselves Australians. They call themselves Aboriginals.
You never heard of Aboriginals?
I'll be right back.
I've heard of it, but
okay.
Yeah, so they call themselves they call themselves Aboriginals, and we're still like, we're only like 100 years federation, like a couple of years back, so we're still dealing with a lot of the atrocities both under Britain and under the Australian government that they suffered. So we're still trying to navigate that process at the moment. They're still trying to find their place, and we're still trying to find the place where everyone fits in our sort of little neck of the woods here. So, but they call themselves Aboriginals.
I just want to add a couple things to the topic before you guys go on to this.
Yeah. Just let me say one thing before you go, because it's kind of different. We always talk about, black people and the racism that we get and stuff like that. Aboriginals, Indians, those First Nations, they have it worse than we do, man. The Inuit over here, they have it so much worse than we do, man. They have it so much worse than we do. So I know it's like saying, well, everybody has racism, but we have to admit the fact that there are those, they have it worse than us, man. You go downtown, you see them on the street, man, and they don't get no help from nothing, and it's just, it sucks. So just wanted to say that.
I just want to say it's ironic that, you're talking about white liberals, like the one group that talks about, hey, respect our pronouns and respect, you should respect this person's pronouns. And it's just pure irony. It's like, also another thing, it's like, if you go on Instagram, and not that we don't appreciate it, but if you go on Instagram and replace your profile picture with a little black box, and then you go back to work, and then you go on with your life, and you ignore the actual issues that are going on, and you sit there and say, oh, I did something good today. I replaced my profile picture with a black box. It's like, no, you didn't do anything. We didn't ask you for it, and you can't you did it just to feel better about yourself. Not just that, and just all the stuff that we're talking about.
Facts.
Well, that's it, man. That's Generation Zoomer, though. They think that Instagramming and posting memes and complaining is activism, and it's not. It's not. They do it to make them feel good, and they don't change anything.
100%.
This is the truth. Yeah,
100%.
exactly. They are doing this. That's all they're doing.
And Alonso, guess what?
And doing this. Oh, good job. I posted a meme about black people. I did a good job as a white person.
Right.
Like,
And
it's like, And
before you ask the question, Roberto, the one thing.
It's not even a question, but go ahead.
The one thing I will say is that when I went to the George Floyd protests here, and I've seen around the world, I've seen a lot of black people and white people, Asian people all together. And this is the only way things are ever going to change is if we all stand up and fight this shit, man. Roberto, you were saying?
Remember where I kept making reference to who they are, this cancel culture. Who are these people making these stupid fucking decisions to cancel out Sesame Street and cancel out this? I found out who they are.
Well,
who are they?
The Republicans.
No, Republicans.
That's what they said.
That's
the
their cancel
Republicans.
culture happened in their cancel culture happened in the 90s when they were trying to put warnings on
all of this
music
new shit that's suddenly taking place where they want to cancel everything. We had a show about it. I think Geiskar had something serious. I had something. Everybody had something on the panel serious that's trying to be canceled out. And we kept asking, who the fuck are they? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what they said.
I don't know, man. I feel like so I see your point, but what I would say is that in the 90s, like the mid to late 90s and probably the early 90s, it was like the Republicans and the conservatives, even here, that were like, put warning labels on everything. Video games cause violence. The whole conversion therapy, trash, dumpster fire stuff. All that stuff came out of like the right side, and it was all cancel culture. It was all cancel culture, right? It was canceling either, bad think or bad language or bad music or like anti whatever it was, right? But then this happened where the pendulum was like the other side, and now it's on Twitter. Since the generation of social media, Twitter is just literally a left-wing like cesspool of cancellation. Like, you say anything, if I go on there and say some of the stuff that some of these left people say about like the opposite race, or I gender swap, or I race swap anybody out, I am cancelled, like instantly. Off the world.
Sorry, Paul. I want to extend a little bit too to say it's not just about white and black. It's also about corporate America and corporate making these decisions about like. So to extend what you were saying before, that discussion might have went. Yeah, me too. I froze too. That's why I had to come out. The discussion went more like art in Warner Brothers or AT&T, whoever the fuck owns DC. I can't even keep up. Our sales are down from African Americans from Superman comics. Let's do XYZ. And it's just has nothing to do with anything. You know what I mean? It's just, like you said, lazy. It's a lazy assessment of the situation, and it's a lazy resolution to the situation. Are you laughing at me?
No, I was laughing at the comment that just came through. I was laughing at the comment.
I don't even read the comments, man. I don't even fucks with the comments.
He's abrasive like an SOS pad.
I read the comments all the time. That's why sometimes you'll see me just break out laughing on a serious note, It's never to offend who's talking. It's just the shit they wrote is too funny to hold back.
Oh, it's always corporate America trying to find out what the people want, right? Or manipulating people into what they want. And then they just read. And they think this is the problem. I do think a lot of corporations think Twitter is the real world. And that's why you see people now being fired because of like Twitter hashtag campaigns and lies and whatever. Like, you see people get fired because of it. Immediately cancelled, their entire livelihood cancelled, because people start a hashtag to cancel them, and the corporations go, oh, there's a lot of people tweeting on Twitter, that's the real world, we better do what they're saying and capitulate because we want to keep our fan base. This is the truth. This is undeniable now in the world of social media that this happens.
I never got hooked on that Twitter.
And you don't want to, bro.
No, don't.
Just
No,
like-
it's a cesspool, man.
Like,
It is.
dog-
It is. If you want proof that human race is depraved, be on Twitter for a day. I'm just saying.
No, for facts. I don't
Yeah.
I'll go in there to promote the stuff, people I follow, my stuff, and that's it. But when you just scroll through that, sometimes all you see is negative shit, bro.
Yeah.
All the time,
It's
man.
depressing.
Yeah,
It's depressing.
It's fucking horrible.
Negativity sells, man. Negativity sells.
I've been
Well,
saying
that's
that
why
all along.
I got rid of my Facebook, because it was just making me angry all the time. It was just negative propaganda,
Yo, you got rid of Facebook?
pumping me up. No, I did for a while. For 2 years,
okay.
I got rid of Facebook.
Mhm.
Only reason I came back is because Kijiji sucks, and I needed something from Facebook Market.
Yeah. Facebook.
That's the only
I was just
reason I
gonna say
came
that.
back.
Facebook Market's
Facebook
really
Market
good.
just keeps pulling them back.
The groups I'm in, some of them are good. It starts out like, oh, I'm in a Boston Celtics group. I love the Celtics too. And then you just see like the comments that's like, fuck this, fuck that team, fuck this player. I don't like this.
They talk
And
stupid
it's like,
shit, man.
Well, the purpose of it was for us to galvanize, get together, have a good time.
There should be like a literacy level on the side there, right? So you
Yeah,
know
right.
what you're getting into. Because sometimes, man, I
Yeah.
join these groups and I'm like, how old are these guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're putting shit on there that's not even relevant to the group. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
they're all opinionated. I thought we're just going to talk about how our team's going to get better.
You know, I've been bad because when I read these comments now, I lash out. So,
It's hard not to, right?
Don't
It's hard
feed the
not to.
trolls, brother.
Like-
Don't feed the trolls.
no, I just like somebody said something, and I'm like, well, that's a dumbass fucking comment.
Uh-oh.
And I just-
Lit
just
the
leave it
wick.
that way.
Lit the wick.
They didn't learn anything. You know what? Don't teach a pig how to fly. You can't do it, and it annoys the pig.
It was just
That's
a frustrating day at work, man. So I had to let it out somewhere.
But Movie Aficionados is the exact opposite. I got 14 moderators up in that motherfucker. We talk about movies. That's it. Ain't no political shit up in there. So,
And you see,
Go ahead.
that's the thing. When you have to have moderators that approve the posts that go into your group, a lot of these groups don't have that, right?
They
So
got
you can just post
14,
whatever
bro.
you want to. Yeah, you need to have that because
Yeah.
you don't want to be in a group where someone's talking about stupid shit. Just said there are a few groups that are honestly really good. Absolutely, 100% there are. But yeah,
Yes.
most of them are garbage,
Yeah.
man. 100%. All right. So now, Josh, what you got to get off your chest, brother?
All right. I'm a little late to the party, but I did want to talk about Kwame Brown and my brother over there, my Piscean brother, Kwame Brown. You had spoken about this, Anzo, and I kind of was like, oh, it's interesting. So I looked more into it. I found out that this man, I mean, oh my God, for a guy who had a pretty successful NBA career, 13 years in the league, $65 million. And that's not what this is about. But I just wanted to say, you know, I mean, that's better than most fucking careers, you know, like Tyler Hansborough and all these people who you want to call busts. But, you know, for 20 years, this man had faced scrutiny from, you know, clowns. Stephen A. Smith, who I think he's a fucking bitch. I can't stand him, or Jamel Hill. Any of these idiots. I stopped watching all that stupid ESPN stuff a long time ago. Love my sports, but I hate these clowns that just like tear down, and I hate to say it, I got to bring it up, other black men, because that's what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is about. And that's why I love this show. And look at what's going on with Kwame Brown compared to what's going on with us. We're having a reasonable discussion. We got 3 countries up in this bitch. You know what I mean? And we don't give anybody shit unless they deserve it, right? We don't throw shots like Steven Jackson did at Kwame Brown. And for those of you that don't know the whole story, I mean, like, for a guy who you played basketball with, who you think is your basketball brother or whatever, to just throw a random shot on your podcast or something. That's like if you said something about, you know, Chris Knight or something. Yeah, Chris Knight, I can't believe what he said. But like, we don't do that stupid shit. So I'm like losing track of my point. I'll let you guys
Stay on target.
So, did you eat some gum? Did you have some gummies
No, I
before you
didn't.
came in?
Smoke some weed.
I wanted there to be a
Have
final,
an
like-
excuse.
I started off good, but
So because I follow it, I'm gonna let you guys know. I'm gonna give you some breakdown of what's going on, right? Roberto, have you been following?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so All That Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson had a show.
I don't like that guy. Sorry.
Okay, right, no problem. I get it. And this is where it all starts, right? So they had a podcast, and they brought on the Lakers. I think it was Jeannie Buss and someone else. So they were talking about the trade that sent Kwame Brown over there. And they were making fun. They were like, oh, yeah, we traded this and this player and this player. And they're like, no, you only traded one player. You only traded one player, meaning that Kwame Brown wasn't really a player. Right? So Kwame Brown came out now, and he started clapping back at them. What happens after that now is Charlemagne the God gets involved and does a video, and they're talking about the things that are going on. And he's like, oh, no, you guys better leave this man alone because his father murdered some woman. And then
Kwame's father?
Yes. Right. And then he said his brother murdered some woman and buried her in the backyard. And they went to jail for this. And he's like,
stupid shit.
They have a history of violence, so you better leave this man alone and blah, 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 blah. So that's where it happens. Now, Kwame Brown started doing podcasts, and he's on YouTube now, and his followers went up, and he's just been roasting these guys like constantly, right? So after all of this, he's clapped back to Charlemagne. And when he clapped back, he mentioned that Charlemagne had a rape charge against him back in whatever year it was, 2002 or something like that. So now Charlemagne ended up sending him a cease and desist letter, saying he couldn't talk about the shit anymore. But
come on, you fucking started the shit.
Exactly. You want to bring up a man's family and shit like that, and then you want to fucking like send a desist.
Cease and desist.
Yeah, order towards the man. You know what I mean? So this is the thing. And like I've said on the platform before, right before this, we had a conversation about it. You're getting roasted for 20 years as being a bust, or however long it was. Not a bust. And that's
I don't think he was a bust.
No, because he was a number 1 draft pick and he didn't live up to that expectation. That's fine. But he still had a 14 fucking year career, bro. He was in the league for 14 years. There's guys that haven't been in the league for a year.
And who the hell is Barnes anyways? Like he's something special.
Barnes is. See, I
see him on these talk shows. I'm like, why is he even there? Who's he? Who are you?
He riding somebody else's coattails. Wait, was he?
He was on the bench at Golden State, was he?
Golden State? Oh, that's. Oh, look.
He was riding the bench, wasn't he?
I'm a champion.
He played with Golden State. He played
prior to those guys lighting it up.
Yeah.
But when those guys were lighting it up, he was on the bench or traded, right?
Yeah, he got injured and then he got traded to the Lakers. Let me see if he has a championship.
See, they're in that realm. They're all like and no offense to Trevor Ariza, but they're in that Trevor Ariza realm. We're like, no, this is a good dude. What you did was good. Your whole career was good, but I just don't remember all the teams you've been on. You're a journeyman, and you might not make as much as LeBron or whatever. No,
there's 2 basketball analysts that I can't stand. They talk like their shit was gold. Barnes is one, and there's another guy with small ears. Stephen A. I don't even know if he played ball, but I like Stephen A. because he talks shit.
No, he's a clown. He's
Stephen A. and his buddy. What's his name?
Max. Yeah,
Max Kellerman.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen
A. They cracked me up, those two.
But he literally said, he was like, oh man, I don't know why they didn't just go for the field goal on 3rd down, because if you miss it, you can just go for it again on 4th down. It's like, dude, like you get paid millions of dollars and you don't even know how football works, bro. Like you're an analyst on ESPN. Oh, and another part of that, Anza, I want to say was that Charlemagne apologized, and I actually saw his apology. He was
and it was half-assed.
He named himself Donkey of the Day, and he said all the shit after sending a cease and desist letter. And why are you gonna bring up somebody's family, man? Like, if I have beef with whoever it is, I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, I don't like what you said. Why would I say like, oh, and your mother's this, and that maybe it's because she raised her wrong, and give some pussy, bullshit backhanded comment.
And his apology.
What's that guy's fucking name?
His apology was half-assed too. And it's not the first time Charlemagne has actually went after another black guy. He went after the guy that was in Get Out.
Jordan Peele?
No.
Lakeith
the main actor.
What did you say, Josh?
Lakeith Stanfield?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He went.
Did you see him in that movie, Judas?
Yes.
He's in everything, man. Lakeith Stanfield's awesome, man.
Yeah, he is really good. So
I didn't understand him though. I had a hard time understanding him in that movie. Fuck.
You mean the way he was talking?
Yeah.
easy
Oh,
to
really?
understand. It was a good movie.
Hey, take it easy there, American.
What?
Easy to understand? What are you trying to say? I'm fucking stupid or something? I said I had a hard time understanding him. Why is he so easy?
I understood what he was saying. I don't remember.
Sorry, Josh. I'm just tearing you up a
No, I
bit
know.
because you're down
I
there.
know, man. Hey, it's all good, dude. At least you didn't attack my family and say like, "Oh, Josh is crazy."
I
No,
don't.
mess with
I
him.
don't roll that way, son.
His
We're
father is
Canadian. We're
this and that.
friendly.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, you
we
don't
talk-
do things like that, bro.
No.
You don't bring up people's families, man.
No.
If you have a
They have nothing to do with it. Isn't that the motto uptown? Don't bring up family. They got nothing to do with it.
Facts.
Handle your own shit.
Facts, 100%.
But you know what? I'm gonna re-say what I said last show about this exact thing. It goes back to the whole thing of black people supporting each other, right? So this guy, also a man of color, is picking at a man who's gone through his trials in life, who's had a decent career in basketball, and he brings up his family's dark secrets for what? To bring another black man down? When exactly on this panel, multiple times I've heard you guys said, we shouldn't be doing that. We should be supporting ourselves, right?
Supporting or shutting the fuck up.
We need more Onzos in here. Onzos that bring people in.
That's the part that's disgusting, right? Because he's doing this for clicks. He's doing this for viewership. And yeah, he got slapped in the face with the cease and desist.
Hey, he got a ton of viewership now after my boy Kwame hit him with that. Oh, he's Becky with the good hair. He was talking crazy shit, man.
I know, but he's still getting the attention. That's
that's true.
That's what sucks.
And it's just like Gaishka said, it's many times, man. We as a black people need to learn to stand by one another and stop bringing each other down. Like, I know that there are black people, when they see another black man rising, they can't stand it. They get jealous. They get upset. You know what I mean? It's like, God, fuck, man. You know?
But you see in that movie also, in that same Judas movie, you see how they got him.
Yeah.
They could always pay off one of us to ruin it for one of us. It always fucking happens.
Wow.
Always. You see, we're the biggest downfall for black people is we always think the next one has something on us. You can't wear a new pair of shoes, and I'm not wearing a new pair of shoes. If my shoes are new, I want to know why yours are new. What are you doing? Who are you stealing from? What mind your fucking business, man. Earn your own fucking keep and get your own shoes. Well, you got to come in my business where I got my shoes from. And then talking about other people. Oh, he's up on the street doing this and this to get those shoes and this and this. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
Help him out. Help him yourself and get, you know.
But that's our downfall. And maybe they know this, Josh. Maybe they know this. So anytime someone gains momentum, they look who's near him that's vulnerable, manipulate him, he'll take him down.
Yeah, Matt Barnes.
He'll never know where it came from.
Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, and maybe you guys can help me because
what they called those guys back in the day? Sellouts?
Sellouts.
Uncle Tom, sellouts, yep.
Sellouts. But maybe you guys can help me with this. I mean, not Gilbert Arenas. Well, that was part of it too. Was Gilbert Arenas?
You're right. He was on the podcast. Yeah.
But who the hell are Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson? Like, as far as like their careers, I mean, maybe you guys know differently than me. Maybe they were something special. More so, to me, they're in that same league of the Trevor Arizas, the people on the bench who are like, hey, he was pretty good. He had some points. I mean, you have a lot of nerve to sit there.
Steven Jackson was pretty good. He played for the Spurs. He won a championship with us. And then he went to Golden State. He was part of that Golden State team with Byron Davis. Byron Davis and the rest of them. He's a journeyman, but he was pretty good. You know what I mean?
I liked him because of his attitude.
Right. That's why Tim Duncan liked him as well, because of his attitude, you know? He didn't give a shit type of attitude. But Matt Barnes has one championship. He has one championship. So I guess they figure because they have a championship. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, they were fucking like bench players, you know? I think Steven Jackson started for a lot of the teams he was in, but I think he was a bench player. I know he started for the Spurs, and then he left, and then he came back. and he played for a while, and then he left because Popovich like wanted to bench him and wanted to make him say that he wasn't better than Ginobili and stuff like that. Some shit like that happened, but he still respects them. It's just my point is, he even did a video, where he was talking about, he actually said that fucking Kwame Brown's career was trash. And I'm like, bro, like really and truly, the man was in the league for 14 seasons. You can't deny that. Regardless of whether he lived up to what he was supposed to be, you cannot deny that the man was in there, and we need to stop bringing him down. And that's what Charlemagne was trying to do. That's what he was trying to do. It seemed like he was trying to do that, but like you said, it was in a backhanded way.
See, and I put those two in different categories. I put Charlemagne and like people who actually played the game and did it in two different categories.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter what, Charlemagne is just a lolcow and a clown that's like, oh, who are we gonna make fun of today? Who's gonna be the donkey of the day? I can't stand him. I don't watch that shit, The Breakfast Club, but I only hear it through osmosis when like stuff like this happens, because it's not the first person that he's done this to.
No, and the dude you were talking about, what was his name?
Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith Stanfield. He literally did a video, and he was like, "I've never heard you go after like white people like that. You know what I mean? The way you always trying to bring down your kind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He called him out. He ripped him up. You know what I mean? And that's what gets Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club the clicks, by bringing us down. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. It's 100% ridiculous, man. So. Yeah, that's fucked up. Keep tuned with that, because Kwame Brown is still setting out the fire. It's funny, man. He goes off.
I subbed to the channel today, so I'm
I
ready.
subbed to him too.
I'm ready,
too. Gaishka, what you got, brother?
Well, I got two things.
Go ahead.
The first one is, we're in lockdown, right? We have a curfew. Curfew is going to be lifted this Sunday, I believe.
It's not Friday?
Yeah, I thought it was Friday too.
Okay. Yeah, they said Friday. I'm going out Friday night. I guess I'm getting a ticket.
But you're going to go out, but everything's still going to be closed because we're still red zone.
Yeah.
That's right. Us and Laval.
Laval and Montreal is still red zone for another week. Now, this is the same fucking premier that wants to bring in that new law that's going to limit access to French students to be allowed into English colleges, which is going to hurt English enrollment in enrollment into the English colleges, which is going to hurt them, phase them out, just like the English schools are being phased out in Montreal. So I'm starting to think that this has to do with all his, agenda of pissing off the two major populous sectors of Quebec, Montreal, Laval, the greater area of Montreal, basically, right? Because this is where the allophones are, the anglophones are, and the money is, right? So I think he's doing this to piss us off as a whole community, because the restaurants are not going to be able to open up their patios and stuff until the red zone's lifted, right? So I'm so pissed. I've kind of voiced it in social media a bit. And, especially with people that are hardcore Francophone, and I have friends that are separatists that would love to see Quebec be its own country. But like I tell them, keep on dreaming, because if you think that if you become your own country, it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, it isn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're
on my what?
You're going to get banned from Canada now. So, you're going to have to come down here. I got a spot for you, though, man. If you want, brother.
It's all good. I have lots of love in the U.S., but I'm not afraid. This is something that's been going on in this side of Canada for years now. But it's just something that, I'm getting frustrated at our federal government. And I'm, and this goes back to Harper. This goes back to Trudeau. This goes back to all them. They're doing fuck all to protect the rights of the English people that are left in Quebec. They're just allowing, because of loopholes in the Constitution and all that they can start throwing these laws that prohibit basically the choice of education, of what language you want to get educated on. And now they're taking away the rights of French people going to an English college, because that's what they're basically doing, right? They were going to English college in order to learn better how to speak the English language better, improve on it, because they know that they need this language in order to work in the world, because English is the international language of business.
Amen.
What pisses me off is, though, that these same government people that are putting these laws saying, no, you can't go to an English school, they're sending their own kids to private English schools outside of the country or in other parts of Canada. So what's not good for them, right? They have so it's privilege. You have money. So if you're French people from a wealthy family, you can send your kids to a private school to learn English and have a better chances of a future in the world. But the lower middle class and the poverty class of the French-speaking people, you can't improve on your English, and you're going to be stuck in a minimum paying job, or unless you know people, to get a good paying job in this province, because you won't be able to function anywhere else in Canada or the world unless you go to France, but the French don't want us either.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to feel a little bit militant. And, you know, I'm from a Basque background, so if nobody knows what the Basque people are, Google it, because they come from they're like indigenous people in southern France and northern Spain, and they have their own language, and they were treated very badly for many, many years, right? And they were able to preserve their language, not by imposing laws, but by self-educating themselves. And I went as far to say in a Twitter where this guy was talking about this, they go, oh, these laws and the federal government didn't do anything. And I went as far as saying, you know who fucked up? And the person goes, who? The British fucked up. Because when the British kicked their ass on the plains of Abraham,
they
won that war.
Yeah.
They gave them rights to land and rights to the church and rights to this, and they did that.
Yep.
Now they want to preserve a culture that's it is a culture, if you want to call poutine culture, but it is, right? Because now did you hear the latest one, what the Blue Jays did on their baseball caps?
No, what they do?
They put Canada's culinary dish, and they put a poutine in the back, and the Quebecers are up in arms about it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just I'm at my point where, you know, life is good here. I love it here. But when it gets to the point where my grandchildren are going to have to suffer what they're not going to be able to have a choice on what they want to do. I don't know.
Well, it's been like this since we were growing up, bro. Because I remember, like, you know what I mean, when they passed Bill 101, and then once they did that, you know, anybody that came from a different country, you have to go to French school. When my son was born, I literally had to go and get papers and prove that I went to an English school before I could send my son to an English school. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I put him in a French school for the first 4 years of his schooling. He was in a French school. But then when we wanted to change him, I'm just going to say it, there was some fucking racism going on in that shit. Let me tell you. All right. So for one, they were like, oh, your son is disruptive. He's this and he's that, blah, 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 blah. When he went to the English school, never had that fucking situation. Never said that anything, right? Now, when my son was growing up, around when my dad died, like I was spoiling him. I was buying everything. He had every single fucking Game Boy that had came out, right? So that show and tell in school one day, he brought his Game Boy to school, came home, everything was fine. A couple months later, someone got their fucking Game Boy stolen in school, right? And I guess when it was, Raheem has a Game Boy. So they took him into the office. But not only did they take him to the office, they questioned him. He was 5 years old. Him and a police officer. My son came home when I went to go pick him up from school. He was like, hey, how was your day? He was scared. He didn't want to. I was like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And he was like, please talk to me. I'm like, what? So I went back to school. I went to school the next morning. And I talked to the principal. And I'm like, listen, do you guys know it is illegal for you to have a cop question a minor without the parent there? You know what the principal said to me? Shrugged her shoulders I said, all right. That's when I knew like he's coming out of this fucking school 100%. But I had to actually prove that I went to an English school just before I could fucking send him there. And it's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Honestly, my mistake. I would have sent my girls to French schools.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done that. Instead, I put them in English schools. They went to good schools, but still,
Mm-hmm.
just to have them immersed in full French, and then they would have came out. Like my youngest daughter, she speaks all 3 languages well. My eldest, she speaks French with an English accent, and she speaks Spanish with an English accent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's our mistake as parents, because my wife and I, we speak Spanglish. We don't stick to just speaking in Spanish. We mix and intertwine everything. And then when my sister-in-law comes in, it's a full mixture because they're speaking French, Spanish, and English all mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's beautiful, but it's fucked up. But these laws, at one point, the federal government has to step up and say, no, okay, enough's enough, right? You already have your rules. Yeah, you already have your rules about, all landing immigrants have to, if they want to live in Quebec, they have to learn French. I have no problem with that. That if you choose to come here, that's what it is. But fuck, starting to cut at language, right? And this is where I debated it. How can you impose laws to preserve language? How was I able to preserve my mother tongue Spanish without any laws being imposed? That happens in the household.
Mm-hmm.
That happens at home. That happens to make sure your children know where your parents came from, what you came from. Culture, that's what it comes from. But there's also another reality. The Quebec culture, a lot of them, the divorce rate is out the roof.
Yeah.
At the age of 18, they're kicking their kids out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been homeless, man. If that was
So
me.
how do you want to preserve something if your nuclear family is almost inexistent, right?
Yeah, it's the most important.
There's so many factors to that, but by shoving laws, you know how many businesses we lost?
Yeah.
We've lost extremely. Montreal was the capital of Canada for everything until that first referendum.
Mm-hmm.
And the second referendum was the nail in the coffin. I saw freaking skyscrapers downtown halfway construction stopped after that referendum, because we came out out of 1 point something percentage of separating from Canada.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really close when they did that fucking referendum. We were so close to separating from Canada, it wasn't even funny. And a lot of the businesses that we had, they fucking ran real quick. And then we had the fucking no English signs. You know what I mean? The language police, bro. We got fucking language police.
Wow.
So get this out. So you know how backwards thinking this government is, right? In the middle of COVID, they put in how many millions of dollars of funding to the language police to give fines to restaurant owners and business owners that were closed during the freaking lockdown because their French language was predominant or the name of their business was English. They even tried taking Best Buy to court.
Yeah, absolutely. Future Shop got closed down for that.
Yeah, because it wasn't French.
Yeah. Best Buy, they did to Best Buy. I think it was Toys R Us. There were a few others. Do you remember there was one point where Paramount Movies didn't come here because they didn't translate the movies in French? So because they didn't do that, it was like no Paramount Movies. Like for a year, we didn't get any movies from Paramount.
Oh my God.
Crazy shit.
First off, we'll settle out of court. We're going to take our business out of your country. Okay, it's settled. Secondly, it's like, it's not that hard. I just watched a movie. I just watched New Order. The whole thing is Spanish with subtitles. It's not that hard to put subtitles on it.
Peace out, Danny.
Peace out, Danny.
You know.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is with Quebec, like they don't care about anything else other than preserving their language. That is the number one agenda on their list, is preserving the French language.
Yeah, I'm sorry. From my perspective, it's very silly. Right now, like I said, my new job down in Jersey at the new club, half of the girls speak Spanish and they don't speak English. But I'll tell you this, the things I need to communicate to them and vice versa, they get communicated. One of the most important things is, hey, Josh, what's going on? Money. Oh yeah, money. Okay, and they give me the money. That's universal. That's universal. The universal language. So what you're saying about losing business and trying to, I guess, make a separate country. It was going to make a separate country. You're just going to get completely screwed. Your economy.
Absolutely, 100%.
They're going to lose their health care. They don't have any currency. Nothing. They're going to lose everything.
When they were doing that, right? The last referendum, they were like, "Oh, but we want to still use the Canadian money until we can."
No, it doesn't work that way.
And we still wanted to use the Canadian passports.
Yeah.
You know how many people were making plans to go to the U.S. in the 70s?
Mm-hmm. That is correct. I remember that. And I'm just like, whatever, man. We need to get rid of, like I said, English is a universal language, and it has to be like that, because if you want to get anywhere in business, most businesses, most countries, they all speak English. So
Montreal's so unique. Montreal's so unique. I don't think there's anywhere else in the world where you could find people speaking their language and communicating. Like, I speak English to a French person and they're speaking French to me, and we have a full-blown conversation. Mm-hmm. Where else could you see that?
Because you understand each other.
But yet they don't want that. They don't want that. It's always somebody trying to control fun.
I crack up because a lot, they passed that law where business owners can't say bonjour, hi, right? But people still doing it. There's hardly any business that's enforcing that.
Yeah,
and then you'll get that one or like hardcore separatist prick that comes in and starts giving the cashier shit just for saying bonjour, hi.
And the thing is,
throwing a hi at the end there.
Right, and the thing is, a lot of these like businesses, they're not even supposed to fucking talk to you in English. You know what I mean? They don't have to respond to you in English, bro.
I got such a hot take for this. I don't know if you can handle it.
Go ahead. We need some hot takes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been to Paris, right? The capital of the dickheads of the world, and I say that because French people are dickheads, and that's my personal opinion after being to France. Okay, I went to their country, I sampled their people, I went to different places. My dad went to different. We were there as a family. We went into an information center to ask, which is where you get information, right? To ask for information. And the guy was a prick because my dad couldn't speak French. So when we're talking about the French language and them talking about preserving the French language, I know how they can fucking preserve their French language, move back to France. Like, fuck them. That's my opinion. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to go in hard now.
People
He's going in hard and no Vaseline, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going in hard. These people are the same. They're pricks, man. Like, you don't get to tell other people what they can speak and how they can speak, especially when, like, it'd be different if, like, the international language was French, right? And we were all speaking French right now instead of English. It'd be really different if it was. But unfortunately, they couldn't win any wars on their own, and so they needed English-speaking countries to actually save their asses, including when they were invaded in 1942, and the English and the Americans and the Australians and the New Zealanders and every other English-speaking nation in the world had to come and save their asses. So their arrogance comes from nowhere. I don't know where they get this arrogance from, like they're the culture center of the world, because they wouldn't have any culture right now if it wasn't for the English-speaking nations of the world, which my dad reminded this guy of in that information center when he tried to call him first a POM, which is what we call English, and then an American or Yank, which is what we call Americans, and then which twice offended my dad. And then he was like, "I'm an Australian, you wanker!" Like, and if it wasn't for the English-speaking nations of the world, you would be a Yahtzee right now. And then he did the Yavol, if you know what that is, to this guy, which pissed him off. But my dad had enough of the arrogance, because it was like, that was like, I think the last day we were in Paris, and it was like, now I've heard, to be fair, I've heard the countryside French people are really friendly, but the Parisians are the most arrogant pricks that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And now I went to Germany, we went to Holland, we went to Switzerland, we went to England, we went to what was the last place? Scotland. and all of those people, and like genuinely nice people, and they didn't require us to speak in their native tongue in order for us to even. And though I was learning German at the time, so I was able to help out in Germany. I was able to order stuff for Dad and stuff. And they appreciated that. I get the idea of going through the effort to try and speak in a native language when you go to another country. I think that's an important thing to try and do. But if you're in that country and you see that someone is trying to at least communicate to in your tongue, like, you should appreciate that, and that should be an honorable thing. Not
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be into them and arrogant because they can't pronounce your dumbass French words correctly.
Dude,
You should see how they treat us. They treat us probably worse than you
when
guys.
it comes to this whole, we want to preserve our language. Fuck your language. You wouldn't have it right now if it wasn't for English-speaking countries. Look, you want to be French, you want to speak French, cool. That's great. Do it, but don't try to tell other people what they can speak. It's the same for Spanish. It's like I've seen a lot of things where cops will try to take on and learn Spanish because they patrol a lot of areas with with Spanish speaking people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to know what they're saying, both for security, I would say, and also because they want to be able to speak to them and find out if there's an issue going on. They like go into a house and, they will like calm down or whatever it is, I get it. But when you talk about like signs and all stuff, like if I were to go to Canada, I would literally avoid. I've heard there's an English side and a French side. I would just literally avoid the French sides. Like, that's how much I don't like them. And you can call me racist for not liking white French people.
They're nothing like France, Paul. They're nothing like France. Nothing.
Because these people were the most arrogant people I've ever met in my life.
Yes, they are.
You know who the friendliest people were? The Germans were the most friendliest people besides the Scots. Like, they were the friendliest people that we met in Europe. Dude, my dad, we were sitting down at an Indian restaurant in Germany. The irony, because we were living in Malaysia at the time. We have an Indian, and this German couple came over and started speaking to my dad and mum. And then they invited us back to their house the next night to have homemade, like, bratwurst, which is like the sausage that they cook, the natives, like their thing, and also sauerkraut, homemade sauerkraut that she'd been like fermenting for like months, right? Because that's how they do sauerkraut. And then we found out he was like a artillery gunner in World War One. And Dad, because I love history and so does Dad, so we got to speak to these guys, someone who lived during Nazi Germany, and hear his perspective. It was amazing, and it was because they just invited us back for dinner. Like the next night. That's how friendly they were. You Parisians, man, you can't speak their tongue. They don't give a care. They don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. You're under them. They treat you as a as a fifth class citizen in their country. Like it's like, who would want to go back? I don't want to go back there. But that's my opinion. That's my hot take. But yeah, if I always wanted to go to Canada, but I'm avoiding that side. Because I'll just get into arguments.
You would have to go to the West Island. You go to the West Island.
That's where the Anglophones are all.
Yeah,
you and Josh.
We're moving more and more west.
Yeah, for real.
We'll put Josh on the West Island too.
You're getting pushed out.
I'm going to my own island.
Well, that's what I actually said in one of my kids. They had I forgot what that's called. The school board, right? Because my kid's high school was up for closure twice, and at the town hall meeting for the school board, I basically got up and I told the head guy of the English school board for Lester B. Pearson. I actually told him, I'm like, you know what the problem is? You're thinking with a 1980 mentality, and what you have to do is stop thinking like that. You have to become a bilingual school so that you can take from the French sector and you can take from the English sector and populate schools.
Just teach it as a language, like.
There's so many school boards here that it's a fucking mafia.
Yeah,
right.
For real.
That's what I said. I'm like, you should only have one school board, bilingual school board. You have to have this much marks to pass for French. You have to have this much to pass for English. And if you don't have those marks, then you don't graduate. That's it. But no, it's ridiculous. It's a backward province. And leaving the politics aside, Anzo, Roberto, myself, we've been here for many years. We grew up here, and if we're staying here, because there's more positive than there is negative, and bringing in your family here.
That is correct. You know, there is a lot of positives that are here in Canada. There are some bullshit that we go through, the French language and all that shit. But yeah, there's some positives, man. Like I've said many times, like
every countntry has their positives and negatives, man. This is the truth. Except for France.
I just want to say, I want to give my little my little thing. I want to say was that I will be the first to admit, you're American on the show. English is the easiest language to learn and understand, as far as I know. Like I said, and like I envy like Gaishkar, man. Like who knows, Spanish and French. I wish I knew the other languages. I wish I knew Spanish, and I wish I could communicate with the people at my job. But and the bodyguard, he speaks Spanish, thankfully, because he translates a lot of stuff. The girls at the club, half of them, they speak Spanish. What I've noticed is like to say something so simple in Spanish, it seems like it takes like way more syllables and words and characters that I'm not even going to try to recreate. And I stand there. I don't sit there like, come on, I wish you guys would speak freaking English. I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing, man. And I am in awe of those people. Not those people. I am in awe of people that speak different languages and everything, because they're getting English every week. There's more progress, and all I need to hear is like me sleep, me money, me tired, me sick. It's like, oh, I get that. That's easy. That's how easy it is. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Like I would push back a little bit on that, because English has like Latin, French words, some Italian in it as well. Like English is like a pretty bastardized language. Like if you really look at the words that are in the English language, actually, you know what I found really easy to learn, funnily enough, German is really easy to pick up, but it's when you understand how the language works, that's when you can actually speak it really fluently. You just got to understand how it works. So like Japanese, for instance, they say the subject first, then they talk about the subject afterwards. Whereas in the English language, we're like, are you going to the house? Bill. Whereas they would say, Bill, are you going to the house? Like that's how they sort of work. And they also have masculine and feminine words for their things, but without going too deep into that. But I will say, just on the last note with France, don't believe the postcards about Paris. It is the dirtiest city I have ever stepped foot in. There is literal, I'm not even saying, there is literal bird shit on the sidewalk. They don't clean. We went out to the Diana Memorial. There is dog shit. Like, I'm not kidding you. I went up the Eiffel Tower. That's on its last legs. I'm not going to let people go up on that very much longer, because when we're going up, there's rust in the internals, and you can see the actual bars bending and like crumbling inside of it. You can see, like, it ain't gonna be there for a little longer, or they're gonna have to stop people going up inside of it. Because I'm just telling you, man, I'm being honest. With my bias against the French people aside, that city is not a nice country. And by the way, when we're driving in from the Autobahn, which is like the German freeway, which you can do any speed at, which is crazy, because first time ever I was going at like 220 kilometers an hour in a car. Worked that out to miles in your own time. But yeah, it was fast. Anyway, as we went in, there was signs going, please slow your car down, as Paris has a certain amount of pollution in the air. And so they were like, we can't add more to that, so you need to slow down to a certain amount so you're not putting so much pollution into the air, because they were literally telling people you're driving into the city of soot. So and it's a city of soot. It's a dirty, unclean place.
I wouldn't mind.
It's not the romantic getaway that everyone thinks it is. It really isn't.
I'll step through the bird shit just so I can see the giant tower that everybody. I do want to go see it.
Oh, you mean the Eiffel Tower?
Hey, when I went to London, Big Ben was under construction, so at least they're like reinforcing it. But I was like,
yeah, like they're doing it with Notre Dame, because I went to Notre Dame as well. But yeah, that's all right. It's a church. Before the fire. Yeah, so before the fire. So it was fine. We went to the Louvre, we went to the places that you go, right? They're fine, but the city itself and the people are just, they're not nice people.
The food was good, I'm sure. No?
Dude,
that's what they're known for.
I'll tell you something. We stopped by, I think it was in Cologne in Germany. Okay. We went to a market there, and I ordered some stuff for Dad, and we got this garlic potato thing, right, with cheese on it. To this day, and I'm not even kidding you, that is the greatest thing that I've ever tasted in all my life. I bet you it added like 50 kilos to me, but like it was the greatest tasting thing I've ever tasted. I don't know what it was. It was like garlic, cheese, potato thing, like this bake that they made. It was like this traditional German dish, but it was in the markets. So good. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Like Germany, they have some really good food there. Not even kidding. Scotland, they just got drunk. This guy, I'll tell you a story about it another time. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Scotland story.
I want to ask you real quick. How are Germans and them with black people? Because I heard, not so much.
Changed a lot.
I don't know. I would say not today because they are very aware of ostracizing anybody for anything. When this guy was as I said earlier, this guy that was talking out opened up about what was happening. Like a lot of people didn't even know the furnaces were happening until this like the ash started falling from the sky. Like a lot of them weren't even aware because that's how insidious the party, the party I'm talking about. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get YouTube on the backs, but like the party was so insidious in a lot of its doings, outworkings, that a lot of the German people didn't even know what was happening until it happened, until it was happening in front of them. And so then a lot of them were like, it's like their shame. They hate it. Like he was talking about, he almost cried just talking about it. Like at the time, I remember him like just going, so I doubt that they would ostracize anyone.
It's funny you asked that question, Anto, because they said that
of course, there's racists in every single country. Let's not deny that, right? There's going to be that element. But I would say as a whole, I would say the German people would not be like, oh, there's a black person walking down the street.
Germany was rated the least racist in Europe.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I was shocked. Yeah. Shocked.
That's the stereotype.
Because you would think the total opposite.
Right.
Absolutely. You would think the total opposite.
Because they were talking about soccer, actually, and this was maybe 2 years ago, how Europe was on the rise with racism in soccer. And this is how they made mention of Germany being the least racist of all.
But the racism part was coming from England, Spain.
It was all over.
And Italy.
Europe.
The majority.
Spain.
Was
Spain was big. Yeah, Spain was big.
Yeah.
Well, they made reference of all of Europe as taking part in this now. Some worse than others. You're right.
Well,
it is interesting, though, because I don't know if it was racism or classism. And that's the thing, like, because with Spain, like the whole pride and the football and stuff, and like this whole, what they try to do recently with the Champions League and stuff, like there's a lot of elitism in football. And so in a European football. And
soccer?
I don't know whether or not, football, when you kick the foot with your ball, not hand egg ball, when you throw it forward. Yeah.
We call that rugby.
Rugby is what my people play. Okay. You play hand egg ball, where you throw a hand egg ball down the to the quarter from the quarterback. I don't know much about NFL. That's all I know. I just know quarterback and blockers. That's it. And I know you throw it and kick it. That's it.
Yeah, sometimes you run it.
That's all I know. I know. There's an offensive and a defensive side, but we don't have that here. We have just offensive and defensive, which can flick like that. So you could be having the ball and intercept, and it's over. You don't stop the game. You have to catch that guy. He goes over for a try. So it's really fast paced. But that's aside. But no, what I was going to say was I think that I don't know if it's racism so much as classism, and I feel like there's like this. There's a peak of that maybe in America as well. Like as a whole, like that it's becoming less about race than it is about classism and like the lower class and the ever rising upper class. And the middle class is like shrinking, and it's the divide is becoming larger between those two different people groups. And I feel like there are different races in each of those people groups. Like there are black, white, Hispanic, everybody down in this lower class, and there's black, white, Hispanic people up in the higher class. Like, and I feel like that there might be more white people. I'm not speaking on behalf of that, but I'm just saying like.
Add COVID in there too, because that
COVID is another one. Yeah, that changes
the whole
a lot of stuff.
Of who's in what class. Because I mean, you could have been like I said, like I'm a DJ. I've been for 10 years, and for a while I thought I I'm gonna have to look for new work. So I started fixing phones and doing all that stuff. But it just so happens that now the club is back and I'm making more money than I was before.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have been a case where, no, you just need to go find a new profession. You were making good money. You were in this class. No, now you're in this class.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to change too.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like there's a classism. I'm not saying racism doesn't exist, so don't get me wrong with that, or that there isn't issues with racism in America and other places. But I feel like there is a greater divide. I feel personally from what I've seen, there's a greater divide between classes than there are races currently in the United States. And I feel like there are like these outliers where we see, you know, white cops doing these horrible things that are obviously racist, right, and motivated. But then there are also like the divide between the classes, which is like, it doesn't matter. The class knows no creed or race, you know, or color or like or religion. Like it just has that effect, and then people are ostracized into their groups within the lower class. So you stick by your people more because you rely on your people more, and they speak the same language as you or whatever. And so it divides within the lower class. Then you have the dividing between the races and the creeds and the beliefs and whatever it might be. And that further ostracizes people. So like, then you see what happens where now there's like this, what is seen as this racial divide.
Right.
But what I see it as is it started with classism first and like divided people along those boundaries first. And then they had to they had to stick by their colors and creeds or whatever to survive, like to survive the lower class. And so, you know, we see like a good example is Hollywood's done a good example of this with Falcon and Winter Soldier, where you see, you know, Sam go back to his hometown and all these people that his family help him and his sister out, but they're all part of the same race. They're all part of the same community group because they're in that lower class that helped each other out when he was young and a kid. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is like that sort of thing is happening, I think, more now. And so when things explode on the media,
I'm sorry, even though he was friends with Pepper Potts and he could have just made a call and said, hey, I need some
exactly.
money.
Yeah. Or Iron Man Iron Man really dogged his Avengers, didn't he? Like,
Isn't there
like, where are the billions of dollars that Iron Man, like Tony Stark, had in the bank? Like, he couldn't have given $1 million to Sam, like a million out of his billions. Like,
isn't there a movement now to cancel Tony Stark because of that specifically?
I think it happened after that. That dude that was denied a bail, and he's like, "Oh, your family's been with us for years, but fuck you." Like, it's like, can I have a selfie now? Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, it was Tony.
And you know what? I'll be honest with you. If you're banking with a bank for so long, even if your credit isn't that good, you still have a history with that bank. So they might be more inclined to give you a loan than if you were just at a brand new bank. It's happened to me, you know what I mean? I've been with a bank for so long, my credit wasn't so good, but what they did was they gave me a credit card to help build up my credit card. No one else would have gave it to me, but they did it because I had a good history with them. So sometimes that's a part of it too.
Did you help fight Thanos with the Avengers though? I'm sure you can make an exception, man.
I actually wish I did. If I did, maybe. Shit. So yeah, we got to go on to Geishka's Game Changers tonight. So we're going to close up. I didn't get to my topic. We'll save that for next week. It was a hot topic that I had on Chaos List. It was about white privilege. So we'll get into that next week if we can. You know what I mean? Paul, I appreciate you coming on. You brought some fire tonight. It was really fun having you.
Welcome.
I just subbed to you, man. Just subbed to you, brother.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, everybody.
I'm ashamed that we didn't get to your. I'm ashamed that we didn't get to your topic now, since I'm like one of the two white guys here. I don't know if you could. There we go.
If you want to come back next week, you have an open invitation. Come back next Wednesday, brother.
I want to talk about my privilege, man. I'm still waiting for that check in the mail. I hope it comes here any day because I really need that money. Just telling you.
Are you free? Are you free next Wednesday?
Probably not, man. But yeah, I will be watching or listening.
All right, no problem, man. Whenever you're ready, and if you want to come back on, you're definitely not a problem.
What time is it over there right now?
It is 2 p.m.
I was almost gonna say it was probably the same time because the times. No, but that wouldn't make sense.
No, time zones are different.
very different.
Nah, never mind.
Sometimes I see Paul up in there. Here it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, shit, man, I want to watch this show, but I cannot stay up any longer, man.
No, I get that.
But other than that, shout out your channel last time before you hit the road, Paul. Go ahead.
It's HalogenHelix, just my name just there. If you search that up on YouTube, you'll find my podcasts and other videos that I've done, unboxings or whatever. I just unboxed the Black Series Mandalorian helmet. So if you want to have a look at what that is, I go through a little bit. It's only 7 minutes, but I go through sort of a detailed review of it and show you the paperwork and stuff that comes with it. That's my channel. So stop on by if you feel.
No problem. Sub to his channel. Guy puts out some good content. He's putting in the work all the time. Movie Aficionados. Josh, tell the people about your channel, sir.
Guys, I'm trying to get to at least 100. I'm stuck at like 54, 55.
I'm almost on you.
Yeah, I am, man. I'm getting stuck. So,
help this brother out.
Check out my channel. Check out Roberto's channel. Everybody's channel here on the panel.
Race to the finish.
Yeah, man. No, it's not even a race. It's going to be a marathon, brother. Once we get to 100, then we'll get to 1,000, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're on Facebook and you're a movie reviewer, you do reviews, go join Movie Aficionados on Facebook and put your reviews and stuff on there. Share your channels. That's it.
Excellent. Andrea Cruz, good guy too. I have him on MSK channel. He said he might come by next week. You have an invitation to come on, bro. That's what we do. We bring in people in here. We get different opinions. We like to keep it real on this show. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. All the people that came in, the ones that came in with Paul's crew, I do appreciate you guys coming and watching the show. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. We're just trying to entertain you. You know what I mean? And this is what it's about. When you can get a whole panel, we can agree to disagree. We can talk about stuff, but at the end of the day, we leave it and it's like done. What's up? You're cool, dude. Always. So I do appreciate that one last time. And just remember, check out Game Changers coming up next. Guys, gotta tell them about the Game Changers coming up, sir.
So Game Changer is basically a show created by Robert Storms, which he generously allows us to co-host it on our channels. So it's the first time that I'm actually hosting a live show of this magnitude, I would say, and it's about relationships. So today's topic is sex really a reason to break up a relationship?
Ooh.
So it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be hot. So you guys check that one out too. Roberto, talk to the people, sir.
Don't got much to say, yo. Find us here Wednesday night, a little later Wednesday night. Again, what did I ask you guys? What night you guys are available? Because you guys are on like all the time.
This week I can't even do. I'm out in the real world, man. At the club.
Thursday, I think. Thursdays should be.
Thursday's my day.
Yeah.
Working every day, bro.
Possibly might be.
It's good.
I might check it tomorrow and check it tonight. I might be 101, and you'll see my show tomorrow night. If not, you know where to find us, people. Cricket Crew, love you.
That is correct.
Is, that Game Changer, is that next? Is that what you're saying? That's next?
Yeah, that's next on Gaishka's channel.
Right. On his channel. Awesome. Can you put that link to channel in the private chat or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll go watch it. Is that the topic you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Sex the reason to break up? I'll watch that next. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We try to keep it different because especially me, when I first started, everything I was doing was pop culture. But as I was like, there's a little bit more to me than that. There's a little bit more to us and everybody than that. So I decided, we'll do some on relationships, keeping it real. We do sports. We try to hit everything that we basically enjoy. Hopefully the people enjoy us watching. My mama bear is in here all the time checking us out. Jess says she's going to come and join us too. I do appreciate everybody that comes in, because when I first started, I was like, who the fuck's going to want to watch me? You know what I mean? And you guys come and show support all the time, so it's much respected. I've met a lot of good people in the community. Josh, Paul, MSK, you know, sub to all these guys' channels. Everybody is in the links in my descriptions. They're also featured on my channel as well. I think I got to add Paul there too, but if I don't have him, I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to make sure that everybody is added on there. You know, I want everybody to get the support that they deserve. So with that being said, guys, we are going to close it up. I'm going to close it out one more time with this intro. If you guys liked the intro that I have here, check out LDG. He does some fire intros, man. So if you guys want to fix your production, get some stuff in there, holler at him. With that being said, peace.